This is Ayman Khan here for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, here with the one and only David Diamanté in Jeddah. Dave, first of all, how's life treating you?
Really good, Ayman. Great to see you. Thanks for coming out, and we got a big fight on our hands this weekend.
Great to see you as well, in good health and good spirits too. I must mention that first of all.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
David, big event here, Usyk-Joshua 2. Let me take you back first of all to the first fight. Get your thoughts on the first fight as we head into the rematch coming up this weekend.
Well, I mean, first of all, what an electric night. You know, Tottenham was just packed, and it was just a sea of people. It was an unbelievable night, and of course, Usyk took the fight. Didn't play out the way a lot of people thought. It did play out the way some people thought. But either way, it set the stage for this, the Ridge on the Red Sea, and that's where we are now. Obviously, AJ has had good success here in the past, redeeming his titles. He did it against Ruiz in Diriyah, in Riyadh. So we'll see if he can do it now in Jeddah.
AJ's drafted in Robert Garcia into the camp, the esteemed, renowned trainer Robert Garcia, to change up maybe his sort of style and maybe be on the aggressive front foot. What do you think we'll see from Joshua on Saturday night?
Well, you know, AJ has said himself that he tried to outbox Usyk the first one. I guess he said he wanted to prove some type of point. And I've said this before, you know, if you have an advantage and you don't use it, it's not an advantage. Obviously, AJ has size, he has power, he has a lot of strength, he's got reach. He needs to use those to his advantage. You know, Usyk is a master boxer. So I think to try to outbox a master boxer would not be the best plan. So I think this time, like you said, he's brought in Ryan Garcia, he's retained Angel, and we're going to see a different AJ. I think he will come more aggressive. At the same time, you don't want to gas out too early. I think we're going to see a different Usyk also, and I think Usyk is going to be ready for an AJ that's going to be coming forward. So we're going to see how he counters that and how he reacts to that. And don't forget, that first fight, there were several rounds that were really close, and even at the end of that fight, Usyk, who handily won the fight, was very much cut up and was really hurt. And you know, I think that AJ's in this fight.
David, to your right, is a master of mind games in his time. I remember when he fought Mike Tyson, he said he couldn't feel pain. A lot of people say about Alexander Usyk, he's a master of mind games. For you, for your eye, when you observe Alexander Usyk, what do you make of him as a character?
Well, I know this man very well because I worked with him for years. So Evander's a good friend of mine. We just had a conversation and traveled around all over with him. When he had his own promotion company, I was the announcer for it. So we traveled all over together and spent a lot of time with Evander. And in fact, I spent time with him here. The last time we were here in Jeddah, I took Evander to a cigar lounge, and I said, "You want to go this time?" He's like, "No, I'm trying to keep my lungs good, so I'm not going to take him to the cigar lounge." But you know, Usyk is on another level, and again, both guys cruiserweight champions, both guys heavyweight champions, so there are correlations to be made there, and it's great to see him coming out to support the fight. When you say like guys feeling pain and stuff like that, I think on this type of level, you feel pain later, maybe after the fight. I think during the fight, adrenaline's probably going on such a high level. These guys probably go through so much pain on the normal in their sparring, in their training. You know, we hear Alex Krasiak and Igis Klimas talking about what Usyk does in his training, you know, staying underwater for crazy amounts of time, swimming for crazy lengths, being in the heat, really extreme conditions. He's used to this kind of thing. So pain, I don't think that's really the issue. I think the issue is if a guy like AJ hits you flush, you're going to get knocked out. So I think that's kind of what needs to happen if AJ wants to put a stamp on it like that.
David, as boxing fans, the boxing public can be very brutal sometimes, and they say if fighters lose, they write him off sometimes. What have you made with the reaction for the boxing public about Joshua and where he stands if he loses? And then as well, Johnny Nelson mentioned as well that he maybe thinks that Joshua might retire if he loses too.
That would never be something for me to say for a fighter what he should do with his career or her. I don't think it's right for anyone besides them and their team and their family and their doctors to make those decisions, or the commission. But as far as like a person, as long as no one gets hurt, yeah, of course he could fight on if you win or lose. What was the other part of the question?
Just in terms of, fighters being written off by the public.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, boxing is a what have you done for me lately kind of sport. And, you win one day, everyone says you're the best. You lose, everyone's, he's the worst, he was a hype job. So I think it's really important as a fighter to know who you are inside, and you got to just kind of have a little bit of Teflon skin. You got to have thick skin to be in the game, and that doesn't just go with boxing; it goes with anything. Being in the spotlight, people take shots at you all the time, but if you know who you are, it is what it is, So, I mean, I'm kind of a perfect example. I know who I am. I'm happy. So, it's. To me, it's you got to know who you are. That's what it is. So AJ can't look at that and say, oh, this, that, and the third. He needs to follow his path in his heart, and that's when you're going to be successful.
David, well said there. Let's fast forward slightly. Hypothetically, Joshua gets his hand raised. How big is that win? Comparing it to the great big wins that upsets, maybe you might say, in boxing.
I don't know if you necessarily consider it an upset. I mean, don't forget the first fight coming in, a lot of people thought AJ should handily win this because of the size. I think it's a huge win. There's no doubt about it. He'd now be a 3-time heavyweight champion, and obviously it could set up possibly a fight with another Brit. That would be really, really exciting. It'd be a huge win. It's a huge win, and I think Usyk right now looks really, really focused because I think for him, look, he's obviously got the incredible amateur pedigree, Olympic gold medal. He went on to clean out the cruiserweight division. I was fortunate enough to call a lot of those fights, and I've called a lot of his fights in his career, so I've got to see him up close a lot. So for him, this is his job. He got the job done at Tottenham. He's now the unified heavyweight champion of the world. But with what's going on in his country, he's on another level right now. He's carrying a country. Everyone in his country will be, not everyone, but most people in the country will be watching this fight come Saturday. So he knows that. There's a lot more to it. So that's why I said if AJ really wants to spark him, he's going to really have to knock him out.
David, I know you've studied the undercard. What's your pick of the undercard from the fights that are on offer at the weekend?
There are actually quite a few. I mean, look, the Filip Hrgović John Gillette fight's just great. I can't wait to see it. Obviously, Callum Smith, against Matthew is a great fight. Number 1, number 2 in the WBC for the light heavyweight division. Ramla Ali breaking boundaries again, becoming the first female to fight here in the KSA in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. There are a lot of Money Kicks is on the card. It's great to see him. Zizo's on the card. There's a lot of great fighters and fights on the undercard. Obviously, Badu Jack, 2-division world champion on the undercard. So there's a lot of good fights. So definitely tune in.
David, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for speaking to Boxing Social. Much appreciated. And once again, great to see you in good health as well.
Thank you so much.